Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Norsca led by Houseplant facing off against Grand Cathay, who shall be helmed by Berserk here on the Khazar's Cursed Oasis. Certainly very fun to see Cathay in a very competitive match, and also seeing some of the new monsters brought to bear. So as far as the Cathay army goes, front line's going to be Jades. No surprises here. These bad boys, when they do have their harmony, or even without it, are going to be very stalwart against like Norsca Marauders, and even will trade okay into Berserker type units, which will struggle with their high armor and melee defense. So yeah, very, very solid for Cathay, and obviously probably one of the best units on the roster. In the secondary, we got Jade Warrior Halberds, probably as kind of a backup against Norscan Ice Troll spam, because bringing a couple Norscan Ice Trolls is very, very meta, so having the Halberds is always good. Spears and some Peasant Archers in the secondary, with the epicenter of the army being the Celestial Lion. So this guy's pretty rad. It does, of course, have this Wounded Pride ability, so when it loses a little bit of HP here, it looks like it gets a stat buff, which helps to counter the wound characteristic, so very, very neat. He has armor piercing and does have a leadership debuff, which isn't bad, really. Very, very cool to see him in action. And what's good about him, maybe compared to the bird, is the fact that, yes, he's a little bit squishier, not as resilient or fast, but he does have armor piercing, so against like Wolfric, who's very, very meta, you're going to be able to get some good fighting power in. And it is going to be a Dragon-Blooded Lord of Flame Breath, so yeah, it looks like it's just going to be the spamming of the Dragon's Breath. Also Might of Heaven and Earth, which does imbue magic and fire damage, relevant against trolls for sure, and the Jade Shield with a Lantern to provide harmony to the troops below. I like that a lot. Very cool build. And yeah, you don't see Cathay played a lot, but I feel like Cathay is incredibly hard to play in domination mode, but if you can master them, they can compete with a lot of the meta factions. Maybe not like Greenskins, but certainly Norsca is a top 3 faction, right? So being able to compete there, or the fact that it was picked in the first place here, means it might have something going on. Marauders with great opens, no surprises. Those bad boys are good against the Jade Warriors. We got Norscan Ice Trolls, which can again pound Jade Warriors if left to their own devices. Wolfric is here, and I would wager that Houseplant's going to be calling out maybe a Shadowcaster. I mean, I guess Death is okay, but Spirit Leech Spam is always kind of useful, maybe against the Celestial Line, but Burning Head probably not, so probably going to be a Shadowcaster, maybe with Melkoths. Pit of Shades perhaps, I doubt it. Probably Melkoths or a Deathcaster would be my guess. Oh no, Metal's actually really good here too. Okay, wait, yeah, Plague of Rust is okay, but Searing Doom is really good at spamming on Grand Cathay. I like that a lot. So Collins here are going to be the Empress's Crowmen, so these are the ROR Crowmen of Grand Cathay, going to be surging through the trees here and looking to drop some fat steaming bird bombs right on the faces here of these Marauders. And it works a little bit different now. You activate it and they drop like several waves of bombardment, so it's not like as much burst damage, but they're still very, very powerful. I'm really curious about Houseplant's caster though. We're gonna have to see. So you're gonna see the first bombardment. Going after the Great Opens makes 100%. It's the right choice. The basic Marauders will struggle with the Jades, whereas these guys won't. It looks like Berserk does miss it a little bit. He's gonna fly over, and you see how they keep dropping the bombardments? There they go. So now he connects, and it will do a little bit of damage, but it does also let the person at the bottom kind of try and dodge it. However, the damage, not as brutal. If that was when they first came out, the Empress's Crowmen, oh my god, they were like bringing units down to like 40% off one of those bombards. It was just nasty, but times are changing. Still do a little bit of fast forwarding. Very interesting positioning, by the way. We do see Grand Cathay just like hunkering down on objective 1 here and then securing the middle. So it's going to be like a lane fight. They both like secure their outside objective, and now they're just going to be fighting over the middle, which is definitely not bad for the forces of Norsca because of all the trees and foliage. It will block a lot of the shooting, but Grand Cathay is actually deceivingly okay in melee grinds. The harmony is very good if you're able to keep that online. They can bring in Wujing War Compasses, and they do have a lot of mobile stopping power like the Righteous Lances of Wei Jin. And this big scary line, which I believe it's an activate, yes, the Fearsome Roar, so he's going to be able to kind of try and break some positions. It also removes ITP, which is kind of neat. Oh, look at this Berserk going for a break on the Trolls. I really like this. Wow, that is super clean. So he gets in there, he surrounds the Trolls, they're wavering, not quite breaking, and they do get terrified, but are they naturally broken is the question. Looks like they're probably going to be stabilizing. It's just a terror out. So that was a really, really cool play. I like that a lot. He didn't quite get the break there, but overall he does, punish those Trolls. They lose a bit of HP, and he didn't really lose much for it. Yeah, these things are still healthy. The Celestial Lion is able to get away. It's going to be juking back up into the sky, and the Righteous Lances are nearby. Berserk and Houseplant are top-tier players, like some of the best in the world for sure. So yeah, like against a lesser player, I think that, they might not have reacted quick enough and the Troll could have gotten routed. Who knows? But yeah, that was really, really good. So it looks like Houseplant going to be moving up to try and contest the middle. We do see the Norscan Ice Troll scooting up like they want some of that. Yep, heading towards Objective 2 here. Meanwhile, Righteous Lances of Wei Jin threatening them. Yeah, they have good AP and they hit pretty hard, and the Trolls do have 60 armor, so they could ignore most of that armor and move in and really punish them if they're able to rear charge them or something. Or if you have the Mighty Roar, right, you can do a big Alpha Strike and try and break their back here. So we get the caster, yeah, Metal Caster like we guessed, with Searing Doom and Plague of Rust. Okay, we were on point there. We figured it out at the end. In the meantime, though, Grand Cathay does have the objective advantage, just kind of hunkering down here while both players kind of engage in the skirmish point of the game. Houseplant going to be rolling up here, trying to get the adequate counters to his opponent's army before he moves in. But, oh, that's actually a Sky Junk. Okay, I thought that was a Lantern. My bad. So that is going to be a junk with some junk in the trunk, which is actually a respectable answer against Marauder Horsemen. At this range, probably not. But if you were a little bit closer, you can definitely keep Marauder Horsemen at bay with that focus fire. So Berserk poking and skirmishing. His Lord is on horseback, so she should be able to get away if she does get chased. Wulfric does have Hunter of Champions, so is going to be able to potentially punish that Cathay Lord if it does get caught. But that's why the Celestial Line is lurking nearby, and now Berserk, ooh, nice bombardments there. He does manage to nail a couple of those with the Empress's Crowmen. And Cathay will most likely surge forward some of their infantry to try and fight on Objective 2, because they're not going to want to yield that point for free. Although, as far as the value trading goes, Berserk is a little bit ahead here, pulling back with the Dragon-Blooded Lord, and also we do see the Celestial Line preparing to engage here. Is it going to attack the Trolls again? Probably not without a little bit of support. Norsca going for a bit of an Unga-Bunga surround, so we do see the Great Weapons and Basic Marauders coming down this way, and Grand Cathay just kind of leaving some Jades and Spears off on the periphery just to kind of keep it honest. But yeah, they don't want to lose this objective. You know, Cathay is a faction that does struggle to get objectives back. It takes a little bit of effort. You know, their infantry are slow and don't have the best killing power, so they're really good at accruing value, but yeah, you can be a little bit dangerous. But it looks like Berserker is confident enough to yield the objective to an extent and just try and value trade for now. So in the backfield, we do get a little bit of a pick going down. We do see the Condom Wolves getting attacked by the Empress's Crowmen, so they will not have a good time. The Crowmen do magic damage, which will circumvent their stats, and man, I love the Celestial Line play. That thing just bounces in, does a leadership debuff, and look at that, the Skin Wolves are broken. Just like that, a very expensive unit is pounded. Berserk up in value a little bit, but we do see the, ooh, yeah, look at the counter charge. The layers of punishment, right? So Berserk routes the Skin Wolves. He then charges in with the Righteous Lances of Wei Jin, finds an Norscan Ice Troll unit, and sends them back to the Shadow Realm. Okay, I'm really liking this playstyle. It's very fun, very, you know, high micro. And yeah, while the Norscan army Unga-Bunga's his other position, he countercharges on this side. Wow, so Berserk saves up a ton of points, charged in with Jade Lancers, and is overwhelming the Norscans on the side, and is going to be taking advantage at this point. I love the tactics of that. I think that's really fun. Really fun indeed. Yeah, the Trolls get routed. You can see here the Beasts of Tashnar are going to get broken, and these Marauder Horsemen probably going to be in some danger as well. Meanwhile, Cathay is able to sit here with its Harmony, continue trading. Will maybe inevitably lose this fight. Norsca with the Trolls might be able to grind through the Jade Warriors in the front, although one unit of Peasant Bows is ripping some pretty cost-effective shots. But Grand Cathay easily secures the other side, routing off the Condom Wolves. We do see the Beasts of Tashnar getting broken, and the Metal Caster actually in some substantial danger. The Crowmen could kill that caster over time, but it looks like they are going to be going to greener pastures, hunting down some other threats. And Houseplant is going to be responding with some tools of his own. So he does call out the Houndos, so we do see the Norscan Ice Wolves, as well as some Marauders with Great Weapons moving here, which will do okay against Jade Lancers. So he's got some intentions to try and get this point back. Granted, the two cavalry units might be able to take these units, depending on the circumstances. Now, back on the other side, the Grand Cathay Harmony lines have engaged. Halberds here taking a really rough trade. This is great for Houseplant, getting the armor-piercing Great Weapons onto the higher quality, more expensive unit. So the Jade Warrior Halberds are holding reasonably well, but probably will break to the cheaper unit. And we do get the junk up in the sky, giving the Harmony buff to the Jade Warriors, one of the only reasons why those bad boys are holding so long. And the Celestial Lion and the Crowmen came from the other side and do rout the Norscan Unga-Bunga right there. Meanwhile, a Breath Attack going down as well from the Dragon-Blooded Lord is able to torch some of the Marauders. And we do see Berserk pulling a pretty considerable lead, 5.8 against 3.9. Neither side really have too much healing. Norsca does have its Trolls, but aside from that, it's not going to be as much. So Objective 3, it looks like it is going to be secure. The Jade Warriors with the support, or Jade Cavalry with the support of the Peasant Horsemen, they'll probably be able to loop around and get a rear charge into the Marauders right here. Meanwhile, on the middle, we do see Objective 2 being controlled here by Norsca, moving Spears and Trolls back in. But Grand Cathay, with their sweeping momentum, I mean, they just have this like hammer of the Celestial Lion and the Righteous Lances of Wei Jin bouncing around and just routing Norscan positions over and over. And Norsca does have its good Unga-Bunga block here, but the Cathay Troopers, if they're good at anything, it is holding. Norsca has stolen this objective, so Norsca currently does have the objective advantage with the middle, but the outside still belongs to Grand Cathay. Also needs to get these horsemen back in. If these Peasant Horsemen were able to rear charge the Marauders there, it would lead to a victory for Grand Cathay. And in the middle, the forces of Cathay have been able to hold this objective, or at least steal it. And Wulfric is also a little bit beat up as well, so it looks like he took some damage, probably from the Celestial Lion, I would imagine. And Norsca is just kind of playing, getting, you know, they're the mole in the whack. Well, no, they're not the mole. They're the one trying to whack the mole, and they're not succeeding. Grand Cathay is grabbing these objectives on pretty much every front. We see them holding this one down. The Marauders here are eventually going to defeat those Jade Lancers. Cathay could be in a little bit of danger of losing this objective, but I think they're okay just sending a fast cavalry over there at some point. Really wanting to overwhelm in the middle if they can. And now comes the Lion. So like we talked about, it's a good armor-piercing fighter. Wolfric could get routed and or killed here. He's surrounded by Jade Lancers, which won't do much against his 100 armor. But if that Celestial Lion decides to move in, it really could. Uh-oh, we see the Iron Hail Gunners getting set up as well. So if Wolfric pops out of the blob, the Iron Hail Gunners will be able to get some nice shots. Obviously, they don't want to blast their fellow troopers, which is very, very noble of them. You know, they're not a Chaos faction. I know in, like, if you ever played the Lord of the Rings Middle-earth strategy battle game, the tabletop game for Lord of the Rings, the good guys are not able to shoot into their own units, whereas the orcs can. It's pretty funny. The bad guys just don't care. Kind of an interesting caveat in that one. But yeah, we do see Wolfric, he's shaken, getting hunted, and the Might of Heaven and Earth is popped on all these units, giving a bit of a stat buff. Righteous Lances of Wei Jin are a big AP unit, so while they're sauced up with this, they can put a lot of damage down on Wolfric. Trolls and Marauders of Houseplant moving in to try and stabilize Wolfric. We'll see if they can. Up at the sky, we do see a Manticore going after the Sky Junk, but not going to have much success here. Old Houseplant's Manticore probably going to get hunted down by Crowmen and absolutely destroyed. Grand Cathay is very good at playing the Sky game now, for sure. The Crowmen trade so well into a multitude of different aerial units. Now, I'm curious about what these guns are going to be shooting. It looks like they have their sights lined up here on some of the Marauders. Yeah, and it looks like Houseplant's targeting them as well. So we're going to see who gets in there. Are they going to get the shots off? They're obstructed, so Berserk shooting at the wrong target to an extent. If he were to switch his fire here into the Marauders with Great Opens, he would get a disgusting amount of damage. The objective being held by Grand Cathay, and on the outside here, the Marauders did get taken down by some fast caps. So like we talked about, we're just going to see some Peasant Horsemen come in, clean those guys up. Should be totally fine. On the side objective, Norsca holding on to this one. They are using their Beastso, the dogs. Who let the dogs out? Looks like Houseplant did. But they're probably going to get chased back by the Empress's Crowmen as well as the Peasant Horsemen. And this objective is certainly in big danger. Overall, Berserk is probably ahead in this game, although the value is close-ish with Troll Healing taken into account. But it seems like the mobile schemes of Cathay have been pretty darn good. Wolfric going for a kill here, though. Houseplant is obviously one of the best players in the world. He's going to be very, very tough to finish off, and he's somebody who's going to always find a way to get back in games, as he does get the Hunter of Champions activated here on the Alchemist, and taking down that caster would be quite good. Metal casters are quite long-term in terms of their magic usage, like they last the whole game, so taking it out now would be a very, very strong play. So that Alchemist is probably going to get karate chopped. There it goes. It's not the end of the world, though, because obviously Cathay does have a backup caster here in the Dragon-Blooded Lord, which actually decides to charge in and fight Wolfric. That's a very bold proposition. Manticore has returned to attack the Sky Junk, but the Crowmen are back on it and should be able to handle that. Side point going to be ninja'd by Grand Cathay. Norsca does not really have anything close by. Some Skin Wolves coming in, some Marauders, but not going to get to that point in time. Looking at the overall scoreboard, we do see 913 against 702, so we do see Berserk with a lead here. And where is Wolfric? Wolfric is trying to squeal away, but the Empress's Crowmen and also the Righteous Lances of Wei Jin and the Celestial Lion were able to harry him off. In the middle, Norsca's troopers, though, trading very, very well. Houseplant staying very persistent here, keeping these infantry on the move, and looks like he has secured the middle objective as well. Wolfric does not want to go down here, though. Oh, man, and he gets broken. Is he terrified? I think it's terror out there, yeah. But he is actually broken as well. So if Wolfric gets hunted off the battlefield, that's going to be a massive penalty, right? Norsca's going to take a big leadership penalty, which will make it much easier for Grand Cathay to push them off the objectives. So praying to the RNGesus gods here is Wolfric and Houseplant. Negative 18 leadership, but with 55 HP, the likelihood of him actually retreating off the battlefield is quite substantial, so we could see him retreat off. Over on Objective 3 here, we do see Grand Cathay holding it down using their, relatively good quality horsemen to fight off the doggies, and I think they will be able to. Righteous Lances of Wei Jin going to move over and assist to make sure Objective 3 doesn't go the wrong direction. Meanwhile, Objective 2 controlled by a massive Norscan Ungabunga, but I don't know if it's going to matter. It looks like Grand Cathay is closing in on a triple cap situation. They have the double cap, and Norsca is leaderless now, with Wolfric running off the battlefield here in a moment. Houseplant is probably checking every couple seconds to see, so he could try and get the unsummon. But I don't think it's going to happen. Norsca is basically just at the mercy of Cathay's mobility to an extent. We do see the Crowmen coming, going after the Trolls, and the Crowmen once again attacking the Norscan Ice Trolls. It seems like they perform pretty well here. The Roar does go down, so their leadership is going to be very low here in a second. You see negative 8. They're at 47, which is, why is their leadership maintaining? There you go, down to 36. And Wolfric retreating is going to be negative 16, so these Trolls are immediately, yeah, look at them, down to 7 leadership. That was so quick. Now they're at negative 6. That's such an expensive unit that's going to get hunted down and just chased off without doing anything. So you can see the value of this little, like, leadership goon squad. I'm loving this play from Berserk. Very, very fun. So Marauder Spears and Marauders with Great Weapons are going to be heading over there, and might be an opportunity for him to get this objective back, but I think eventually Grand Cathay is going to wrestle the middle here. We do see the Crowmen nearby. The Sky Junk is bombarding them. Big cavalry charge from the Jade Lancers here, and the Junk dropping some fat bombardments right on their trunk. Leg of Rust activated, not a bad one. Going to be putting the armor down to 40. Granted, mostly AP units here. and a lot of Cathay cavalry are going to be on their way in. I don't see too many opportunities for Houseplant at this point. You know, it ain't my first rodeo. I've casted a lot of games over the years, both Land Battle and Dom. And this one is looking like it is probably going to be over. I think Grand Cathay's got this one. They don't have the leadership penalty. They have a big cavalry force. The Junk's still alive at 1,000 HP. They have Air Force dominance. The Celestial Lion has been an absolute MVP, just routing off trolls. Only 1,000, but obviously a lot of the value has been in his routes. Like, he basically just broke that 800 leadership troll unit. And Wulfric is gone. We do see a fair amount of Norscans here, but I'm just not seeing a way back in for Houseplant. I mean, he's a very cagey, very, very strong player, but this is going to be tough. Skyjunk almost getting taken down by the Marauders here. It is floating away. It's shaken, but sitting at 18 leadership. And are the Horsemen going to get it? I don't think so. As far as call-ins for both players, we could see a Wulfric call-in once again, maybe to try and get the leadership back, you know, bring him back from the pits. He's able to go back to his Unga Bunga tent and get a little bit of healing, perhaps. Grand Cathay calling in Jade Warriors to saturate up on the points. Jade Warrior here. Another Jade Warrior on the backside as well. Crowmen easily screening out those Horsemen. You just send a Haggard Empress's Crowmen there to do that, and you're going to be A-okay. So Houseplant saving resources, and so is Berserk. We see Berserk at 1,200. Berserk does make Berserk at 700. Houseplant just making a call in too. So neither of them are really saving a lot. Beasts of Tashan are not going to be a bad choice. They can certainly rip apart Peasant Horsemen if they can get the proper engagement on them. And I think it's just going to be more Jades and more mobility being called in. Yeah, looks like that's going to be the case. Crowmen on the other side do manage to catch the Marauder Horsemen. So they're going to start taking massive casualties as these crow bros move in and rout them off. Negative 11 leadership. Probably not long for this Earth. On the objective here, Peasant Horsemen easily going to dispatch these units. And now we are basically in a triple cap situation, which I don't think is going to be happening. We see some doggies coming in. Grand Cathay holding it down, but all they really need to do is Helm's Deep on one of the points if they want to, and with Cathay's staying power, they probably would be able to do that. But I don't even think they really need to. They do have a value lead, although with healing, yeah, it's probably pretty even-ish, but no, I would say definitely Cathay has a value lead, probably about 2,000 actually, because of the routing. So they routed off a couple units, which isn't really included in the value, right? So I think it's a more substantial lead than we know. Celestial Lion's doing good, and yeah, GG well played. We'll do a little bit of fast forwarding here. Houseplant fighting to the bitter end. Of course, the champions fighting Spirit, but that is going to be it. GG well played. Awesome match. That was really innovative, using that leadership goon squad. And yeah, the Junk was also quite good. The way he played the objectives was good. The Cathay mobility very on point with the Peasant Horsemen and all these. I loved it. That was really impressive. Empress's Crowmen 2,700. They were summoned, I believe, 3 times, though, so it's hard to really gauge their value. And we did see the Righteous Lances paying for themselves, and another Astromancer. I'm curious about these casters that he has. I guess going for Spell Mastery, maybe? Yeah, very neat. And yeah, classic Norscan, very meta, very sweaty. Both these builds were pretty cool. Norsca is, of course, more standard. I haven't seen this playstyle before. This is my first time seeing this, so I'm taking notes. I got my little notepad down here, and we're going to be scheming some Cathay. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Adios, do widzenia. And that's going to be it for today.